Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about curriculum I have hated. This is a collaboration hosted by myself and Davine over at Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. I'm going to go ahead and link the playlist down below in the description bar, so make sure that you check it out when you are done with this video. You can go and see what all of the other mamas have disliked using. Just to note, if you guys hear a weird humming, it's because I have a freeze dryer and it just won't seem to finish, and we usually store it in our homeschool room for sake of space, and so I have had to push it into the hallway so that it can finish out there and I can do this video without loud hums. So I'm not sure how well my microphone will pick that up. It seems to pick up my children's yelling pretty well, so maybe the hums will lull you to sleep. Alright, so curriculums that we have not liked. It's funny because Davine and I were planning out our homeschool collaboration list for the year, I think over the summertime. And I was like, well, surely by March there will be some curriculum that I hate that I have not already expressed dislike for. And we have been so blessed this year to like the majority of our curriculums. There's some things that I would want to change about one or two of them, but nothing that I was like, this is a train wreck and we're jumping off. So I don't have anything brand new, but as I've been reflecting and kind of going over some of the curriculums that, you know, I've spoken to you guys about, you know, why we switched and, you know, kind of jumping ship from there, I've realized that homeschool curriculum is not always, you know, just because you leave it doesn't mean that you hate it or you dislike it. One of the curriculums that we started with, actually the main curriculum that we started with when we started homeschooling way back when, was master books. And after about 2 years, I was getting a little bored just because they had the same setup in every book, which is really great for kids who enjoyed following the story and who really like the consistency of what every single grade is going to look like. And my son really enjoyed it, and even part of him, he was like, I don't know if I really want to switch. And I was like, well, I'm getting tired of like I just started feeling kind of bland after so long. So we took a break from that, and there were certain things that I was like, I don't really like how they introduce new concepts within the last like 10 weeks of the curriculum. I'm like, if you're gonna address stuff, like let's do it a little sooner instead of like doing it once or twice before, you know, in that 10-week span, and then they don't even have a chance to really master it. They just kind of, you know, master it the following year. However, since we have taken about a 3-year break from master books, I actually have come to really appreciate that they kind of introduce you towards the end of the curriculum and then they go into it more at the beginning of the year. I did notice that when they would do that, my son, you know, at the beginning of the year when they would start going over, say, something like Roman numerals, he would be like, oh, I remember that, I started it last year. But at the time I did not appreciate it. I just found it kind of annoying because, you know, it was introducing things like that towards the end, and then he didn't really have a time to master it, and then he kind of jumped into it in the following year. So with all of that to say, there's going to be many things that you hear today in this collaboration of curriculums that moms don't like and why they don't like them. But I think it's also really important that when you're thinking about, I hate this curriculum, or I don't like this curriculum anymore, I don't want to use this curriculum, that it might also just not be the right season, or there might just be a little bit of burnout with that particular curriculum, but it doesn't mean that that curriculum is bad. Just kind of thinking about how joyfully we started our homeschool the first 2 years that we were in it, and then kind of how it's just progressed and gotten kind of crazy and hectic and a little bit overwhelming over the last 3 years. It makes me really value master books more than I initially did. I never thought that they were a terrible curriculum company or anything like that. I truly liked using their curriculum, but it wasn't until we stepped away from using that curriculum that I saw that we lost a little bit of that like spark of joy. So as you hear all of these things today, it's important to note that you know, it might just not work for that family, and it might be working well for you guys. And I'm saying these things before I tell you guys the 2 curriculums that I absolutely will never ever use again, okay? It's okay if I don't like something that you are ride or die for. Please don't attack me in the comments. All right, so to give you guys a little bit of a brief overview of everything that we've used, we've done, when we left Master Books, we went to The Good and the Beautiful, we tried out The Brave Writer, we tried Matthew C, we used Beautiful Feet Books and IEW, and both of those I recommend to the highest degree. Those have been curriculums that have completely captured my heart, and I just love to my core. We have also tried Gather Round and Apologia, and both their math and their science, and honestly we've used a lot. Like, I can't even keep track of all that we've used, but those are some off the top of my head. Oh, and Simply Charlotte Mason, their history. And so out of all of those, I could easily see us going back to any one of those, but for the 2 that I can honestly like put my hand up and say I will never ever use again would be Matthew C and The Brave Writer. I completely disliked those curriculums to my core. My problems with Matthew C is that my daughter was in their Alpha and my son was in their Epsilon, and I didn't like, I liked how it would teach him fractions in different ways, but sometimes it was just so long and drawn out, and I'm like, just don't even do it like that. Like, if you understand how to do it, just do it the straightforward way. You don't have to do this long process just to get to the answer just because they're telling you to do it like that. Just approach the problem in the way that you know how to do it, where it's not just taking so long to solve it. And the videos, they were just they were very dry and boring, and so I didn't like that aspect for him. I know that there were some other reasons why I didn't like it. I would probably have to go back and watch my video to be like, oh yeah, I remember that was an issue. For my daughter, she was in Alpha, which I believe is their very first set. It's like literally just working on addition. And I think they had maybe a few lessons on, I want to say, time, but they didn't have any calendar work and they didn't have any money work. And to me, I'm like, these are foundational math skills that you do need to build on and you need to be introduced to. And so by the time I realized this, we were in like the middle of the year, and so I had to order her additional books that went over time and money and calendar. And it was just frustrating that I had spent all this money on a math curriculum and it didn't even hit some of the basics that most other math curriculums hit. And like I said, I know that I'm pretty sure that they have time is what I'm thinking of, but it was very few lessons that actually went over time, and literally nothing went over money or calendar work. And you know, if we do master books, if we do The Good and the Beautiful, it has those things, and I don't have to purchase things separately. And I'm the type of person who I don't like having 5 different curriculums for one subject. So the fact that we were having to pull out 3 different workbooks with the Matthew C for her was slightly annoying and just kind of dragged on our day. I'm trying to think if there was anything else in her book that I didn't like. I think those were like my biggest pet peeves, and it just irritated me to my core. All right, now moving on to The Brave Writer. I believe her book is called The Brave Learner, and so I read that, I think the summer before, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I found out that she had a curriculum, and I had really high hopes for that curriculum because at that point in the year, we tried it around October or November. My son wasn't loving The Good and the Beautiful, not because it was bad, but just because it was taking him so long for the language arts part of it. And at that point, he was in about 4th grade, and the language arts with the stories, with the geography that's inside of it, the lessons were just dragging. And I'm like, I don't even want to do like this because we already have our own geography curriculum. I don't need everything inside language arts. I just want you to hit language arts. And so we tried out The Brave Writer, and we loved reading the story together. That was, I think, the funnest part about using The Brave Writer, was that they pair a book. It's basically like a book study, and so you get the curriculum, you read the book, and then you go and analyze parts of the sentences, and you do copy work and all of this other stuff. And so I didn't like it because to me, it wasn't open and go. It wasn't completely planned out. And as if you guys are, have been around here for a while, you know that I love open and go. I love things being planned out. I don't have the time. I have the willpower and I have the fortitude, but I don't have the time to sit there and plan out step by step. This is what we're going to do every day. This is how it's going to go. And then just planning the flow like that. Like, I need something that is ready to go. I can pull it off the shelf. I can teach it. If there's something that I need to focus on, then the book tells me, and I focus on that with the kids. I make sure that they master it, or at least have a very good understanding of it, and then we move on to our next curriculum. And that was not how the Brave Writer was. It was like, here's this smorgasbord of everything that you can teach to your child. Go be somebody. And I feel like I'm too type A for that, because there was a lot of background parent work. And maybe some of you who use the Brave Writer can give some tips down below for those who are maybe thinking about it and hearing my negative review on it. Maybe some of you have like pinpointed it down to a science and you plan everything out and it just doesn't take you that long. But the way that my brain works is, I am very type A. So like, I want to go into each day with a plan. I want to know what I'm covering, what I'm teaching. And she gives you suggestions for each day, but it's not like completely planned out. And so that just left me feeling like kind of overwhelmed and stressed. And I did not like it. I did not care for it. Some of the things I was like, if I skip this, is it going to hurt him long term, or is it okay to skip this because this isn't, going to become eventually a big concept? And so it was just kind of a little too free-flowy for me. And so if you're the type of mom who does not like free-flowy and you like more control and plans and you're more type A, then the Brave Writer probably isn't for you. Okay, and I'm not saying that just because I have not enjoyed these curriculums and that I will never use them again is meaning that, it's wrong for everybody. I have friends who use these curriculums and I'm so happy that they work out for them, and any of you who use them, I'm so happy that they work out for you and that you have found something that brings joy to your homeschool. They just have not brought joy to mine. And especially the Brave Writer. I will try to link those two videos where I talk more about each curriculum down below in the description bar, just so if you guys want more of a fresher perspective from when I was actually using those curriculums and all the reasons why I didn't like them, I will link those down below so then you guys can go check them out. That's especially important if you guys are checking out either of those curriculums next year and you're not quite sure if you want to use them. It's good to hear the good and the bad, not just, only the good stuff, so then you get sold on it and then you're like, oh my word, I spent all of this money, because that's rough. Some of these curriculums are not cheap, and I'm actually really happy that for the Brave Writer, they sell not only the pack, at least at the time when we used it, they sold an entire pack for the year, or they sold each one individually. And I'm so happy that I tried one of their individual sets before purchasing the entire pack, because I was like, I had watched all the videos, I was looking on her site, I thought like, oh, this is going to be golden. We're going to just do this for the rest of the year and have fun. We're going to be reading stories together. And I was about to drop like hundreds of dollars on her set, and I'm so happy that I tried the individual set before purchasing the entire year's worth, because that would have been so very bad. Let me know down below what curriculums you have not enjoyed and that you would never go back to. I would love to hear it, just to get some fresher perspectives. If you have had Matthew C. or the Brave Writer work out for you, give some tips and tricks down below in the comments, just so then that way anybody who might be researching these particular curriculums, they can have, different people's perspectives and see what works or what hasn't worked. Don't forget to check out the playlist down below in the description bar. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button, and I will see you again later. Bye.